Hey guys, today we are having a quick look at two models, both by Hasegawa. The reason we're looking at two is because they are quite closely related. Also, there's another reason for it as well, which is that I've actually built the top one there, which is a 37mm Ostwind anti-aircraft vehicle, and I have not built the 20mm Wirblewind, which is down below here, as you can see. So, from a perspective of showing you sprues and bits and pieces, I only have the bits and bobs for the one at the bottom, which is the Flakpanzer IV Wirbelwind. So let's have a quick look. Well, the first one at the top there, as you can see, is basically the Ostwind, which is an anti-aircraft tank, for want of a better term, utilised by the German forces during the Second World War. It is equipped with a 37mm cannon, or anti-aircraft gun, whatever you want to call it, which is a fairly hefty little round that would do quite a bit of damage to you or whatever you are flying in, should you be unfortunate enough to be hit by one. The kit itself is a Hasegawa kit, and Hasegawa were of a range that I wasn't overly familiar with. Both of these kits are quite old in one sense. This particular one, I pretty sure it was around about the late 90s, early 2000s I picked it up and subsequently built it. Painted it up, so it's getting a bit of a repaint now soon to match in with some other units for rapid fire, but very straightforward boxes, as the Hasegawa always are, and a nice little build actually as well, from what I recall. Here, just to show you, is the completed model. Now, as I say, this is up for a repaint because I'm going to be matching it with some existing units that I've developed since, but it's a solid little piece. I must say it went together very, very handily from what I recall. No issues with it whatsoever. Even the gun section inside there wasn't particularly tricky, so a nice little vehicle, I must say. Turret moves, of course. Now, you don't get any elevation. You only have to traverse with the turret. You don't get any elevation with the gun. That was the only thing. But look, it doesn't really matter. I don't think myself anyway. But that's the Ostwind there anyway. Nice artwork actually on the box. Actually, I always kind of like the Hasegawa stuff. From what I've seen of it in more recent years. As I say, when I was a kid and my early days of building kits and modelling and wargaming and stuff, Hasegawa were kind of new to me. I'm sure you guys probably were quite familiar with it, but here in Ireland, particularly in Southern Ireland, the regions of Limerick and Tipperary, I don't remember seeing any Hasegawa kits until fairly recently, as I say, in the last 2 decades. I've only come across them online, really, apart from one particular store where I know I bought this one, which was the Gathering in Limerick, which is still going. I was in there the other day, and that was where I got this particular one. And actually, if I recall correctly, I picked that one up a little bit later. But that is the Ostwind. Moving along to have a quick look at this one. This is the Wirbelwind. The Wirbelwind has four 20cm cannons, as opposed to the 137 on the Ostwind. Wirbelwind, of course, obviously meaning whirlwind, and Ostwind meaning east wind, ironically. So nice artwork there. It shows a Panzer IV in the background there at the right hand side, and some sort of an aircraft that seems to be shot down in the rear there. Looks possibly like a P-51 Mustang, maybe in British colours, perhaps. Looking at the tail there, maybe not, I don't know. But nice bit of artwork there, really nice. Whoever this looks like an Italian name there. He's done a few of those pieces for Hasegawa, and I think they're quite good. Box is very straightforward, nothing particularly exciting happening with those, and that's the box for the Wirbelwind. Little look at the sprues here. Actually, we'll have a look at the decals while we have them handy. The decals are the same, as you can see there, for the Ostwind and the Wirbelwind. I like it because you can get variants of numbers there, plus it's always handy for to go into the spares box, which is exactly what will happen to the excess decals on this sheet. But they're in good nick. The tracks, vinyl type, yeah, quite like those. They're very easy to manipulate, even though this kit is quite old. It's they're still quite supple and rubbery, so that's a good one there. This is the the hull piece. Now you can see there's a turret there as well, because they seem to get kind of utilize kind of a main mold, and then you kind of select the bits and pieces for the kit that you're putting together, but you don't get enough really to build anything else other than the kit depicted in the box. Now maybe you might manage to get away with building a turreted Panzer IV. I didn't try it with the other one, but I'll show you that again momentarily. So again, you know, basically the molding is very good, sculpt is very good. I don't recall any fit or finish issues with the Ostwind, and I'm not expecting anything with the Wirblewind either. So let's have a look at some other sprues there. This is the gun itself, which is the 20 centimeter. Is it fielding? I think they call it, kind of quadruple, basically. Kind of set up there, and nice and handy. The guns are already mounted onto the main part of the mechanism there as well, which makes it a little bit easier from a construction perspective. And there's a few other little bits there. These seem to be the gun barrel and maybe gun mantlet for the turret, if you're making the Panzer IV itself with the turret on it. But of course I won't be doing that, although I might get a few Hasegawa Panzer IVs at a later date. Some more bits and pieces there, again kind of turret stuff and lids and stuff like that. So very handy for the spares box if you were going to do anything in that relation. Again, as I say, nice and crisp. Injection points are fairly sensible as well, nothing nuts there. That's quite handy too. And here is the actual turret for the Wirbelwind. I almost said Ostwind. As you can see, nice, really definitive kind of a shape to it. Actually, you'd never mistake it for anything else other than the Ostwind or the Wirbelwind. Looking at those, if it was coming over a hill at you in I don't know, Russia or Northern Europe or something. Wheels, sprockets, bits and pieces here. All fairly good. Yeah, I mean, I do prefer myself to one-piece track systems that are kind of more modern. Now that, well, basically the companies are able to put nice detail into them, but at the same time, these are still quite nice, and still, particularly the Hasegawa stuff, easy, which is the main thing for me. I don't like these individual track systems and anything that's overly finicky. For wargaming, I'm happy to sacrifice a bit of detail for ease of manufacture, to be perfectly honest. But there you go, that's just me. But as you can see, the detail isn't bad on these at all. They're actually quite nice. I'm quite fond of them. This is, where are we going here now? This is the other sprue in relation to that. So as you can see there again, more wheels, bits and pieces, drive wheel sprockets, exact runners, that kind of thing. And again, quite nice. You can see there is a parts 13. That's the spare shells. I think you'd probably use those for the Ostwind as opposed to the Wirbelwind, although I could be wrong. Once we get into the instructions, we'll have a look there. So that's those. And here is the upper hull section for the alternative kit that you can make out of this, which is actually, if you look at this, you might twig it already, but it's actually for the ammunition carrier for the Carroll mortar, or the Morse or Carroll, which was a big siege mortar. A few of those were used, possibly Sevastopol, places like that, or maybe even in Italy, maybe Anzio, something like that. And these were basically used to, as with a kind of a crane mechanism here, to lift these up onto the, presume the loading deck of the mortar or something like that. An interesting piece, actually, if you wanted to Google it and have a little look. It's a fairly impressive piece of engineering. Also available in kit form from Hasegawa. I haven't got one, and I don't really intend to get one. I don't really have much use for it, but it'd be an impressive piece on a shelf if one was to do so. Lower hull section, or hull floor, and side sections there as well. These are the obviously universal pieces to any kit you were putting together for the Panzer IV in this range. So that's pretty straightforward, as I always say, and that is basically that. Other than to show you, as I say, the idea I have for this Wirbelwind is that it's going to be utilised for a rapid fire battalion. I'll have a look at the instructions there now as well. And I'm going to be matching in with this Tiger, because in rapid fire you have a battalion of Tigers and you'd have an air defence unit with it. So it's going to be painted up in this particular colouring here. You might just check out my video on this particular Tiger as well. Let's see, Altair, the Agostini Tiger. They're a nice little piece as well. The instructions, as I say, handy. Section 1, put the gun together. Section 2, drop it into the turret. A few little bits and pieces. I may or may not use those little pieces, because I'm possibly thinking of putting a few figures in there to work as crew. I might revisit that when I'm doing it and see how the story is. Again, you're putting on your wheels here, your hull assembly, and bits and pieces there. Glue your tracks together. I always do. Some people heat them. I don't like to heat them, I like to glue them. Rear assembly there. Again, nothing particularly complex. And again, this is how you can kind of put your tracks in to make it look a bit more realistic, rather than just straight across the top. Something got a little bit lost in translation here, as it says actual feelings increase when it is made to become loose and installed. Yeah. Moving along. Then we have the other pieces here. We put the turret on, and the front armor section here with the MG34, and so on and so forth. It's nearly always an MG34 in a bow-mounted Panzer. Reason being, from a barrel change perspective, you just twisted 34 over to one side, pop the barrel out, slot in the new one, and off you go. Whereas with a 42, you had a little bit more had to be done in that regard. So that was that. And then you finish off then with the small bits and pieces here, and that's that. So I'm going to crack on and get this kit together. So I'll be back in a second. Don't go anywhere, and we will see how we roll with this. All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye. Well, folks, we've returned with the completed kit here. This is the Hasegawa Wirblewind. I may have mentioned in the earlier part of the video that it has a 420cm guns. It doesn't, of course. It has 420mm guns. I don't like to think what kind of a size a vehicle would have to be to carry 420mm. But anyway, so the kit itself turned out quite well. I'm matching it in with a particular type of tank, which I'll show you in a moment. It's a battalion of Tigers for rapid fire purposes, so I didn't do anything particularly outlandish with the camouflage, because I was trying to match in with an existing kind of colour pattern as it already was. So that's basically the turret inside there. You can see where the gun mechanism goes in. So there's 4 of those 20mm guns. It doesn't come with any crew, but I may at a later date slot some guys in there once I research how many crew is needed and what is out there that I could kind of maybe put in there and what I could get away with, basically. So basically that's it. It's as I say, it's very straightforward. The kit went together very handily, I have to say. Hasegawa, good kits. Not a bother. Really enjoyed putting it together. I made one small little error down here with the tracks, but other than that, fairly straightforward. And the decal seems to have moved before it dried on me. But anyway, other than that, it's fine. I went for a very, very basic marking scheme, because again, what I'm matching in with is fairly basic also. So there was no point in overly complicating things, I didn't think. Anyway, so that's it. There's 1 or 2 little bits of shading and just tidying up to do on it, to kind of bring it into, just make it look a little bit better. Just in case if anyone's wondering, these are the boxes for the spare barrels, which don't normally appear on the side of a Panzer IV. So if someone's looking at that going, he's after doing something wrong, that's actually what those little crates are there. And this thing here, of course, is the wooden jack block. This is the tank I'm matching it in with, because I will have a battalion of these for rapid fire purposes, a battalion being 12 Tiger 1s and 1 Wirbelwind. Now on camera that doesn't look as closely matched as it does in real life for some reason. The closest colour I could find to it was Humbrol 144 mixed with, or shaded with a little bit of Humbrol 53. These are matte enamels. But actually, when I look away from the camera, it actually blends in a lot better. Strangely enough, I don't know why that is. But there you go. And again, here is the 37mm as opposed to centimeter Ostwind, which I had done many years ago, which is up for a repaint to match in with something else. It'll be in a camouflage pattern, but it won't be that shade, so that's going to have to be addressed in the next little while. These, as I say, match in with my Tigers, but these will be matching in or joining the battalion for my Tiger 2s, so I'll be having to address that shortly. So that's it, guys. That's basically the Wirblewind by Hasegawa. Lovely little kit. Very easy. Haven't seen too many of these Wirbelwinds, not just Hasegawa, but Wirbelwinds in general, available in the 172 or 20mm scale in kit form. Someone will bound to contradict me there, but you know, just it's kind of one of the first ones that I've got my hands on. I have seen some white metal and some resin ones, all right, but at the end of the day, that's what I had. I only needed one, so when it presented itself, I snapped it up a while back. As I said, the Ostwind I've had for, I don't want to say 20 years, but definitely 15. So, but there you go. So look, guys, if you would like and subscribe, that'd be great. And we will have some more videos coming up very soon. So thanks for watching, guys. All the best.